So I've been crying all day today. Woke up crying, came home, continue to cry.
Amy, you posted the other day how you're feeling. And so what I saw is crying, waterworks coming down the face and being completely vulnerable. And just sharing out, this is what's happening. And probably a lot of your friends were like, wait, what happened? Can you tell us about the post and why you posted?
Well, I think I posted this on Tuesday, so 2 days ago. And mind you, I had just gotten back from my Seattle trip. I was there for a week last week,
Oh,
visiting a friend that is in the fight of her life with cancer. I've also visited my heart surgeon. When I was born, I had open heart surgery back in 1980, actually, when we first came to America. And I had, after 40 years of not knowing who my surgeon was, I had a reunion with him. So, previous week was very emotional, and then just the travel and everything else. But coming back here and seeing that this is not ending anytime soon. All the hate crimes that we are seeing ever since the pandemic last year, from the whole Black Lives Matter movement to the Asian hate movement right now, it just was so overwhelming. And I'm the type of person who, I'm an introvert. I can be totally happy just sitting there writing my books, writing my manuscripts, and not interacting with the world at all. And so when you have all this coming at you all at once, it gets overwhelming. And I realized, that I had been internalizing and bottling things up for over a year now. Not speaking out about how I feel about the elections, not speaking out about how I really truly felt about the Black Lives Matter. Because I have always been the type of person who doesn't deal with conflict very well, you know? And I realized through everything that I've been through that keeping it to myself is not the healthy way to go. And I've been involved with some mental health awareness projects lately, and each time when I post something about mental health, I'm always advocating. It's good to speak out. It's good to open up that dialogue. And yet here I am internalizing everything and not doing what I was telling others to do. And that felt like a hypocrite, right? And it just all came crashing down. And Tuesday, I don't know what happened really. Honestly, I just woke up feeling so much pain and hurt for the world. And I cried. I cried for an hour before I could get myself ready to go to work. And then I went to work, had a leadership meeting, everything was fine, came home. And when you're home and you're by yourself, you have all these thoughts that start competing again, you know. And it's the same old thing with, the Atlanta shootings and what happened in Colorado just recently this week. And I don't know, Jolene, it was the tipping point for me, and I just fell apart. And
So I've been crying all day today. Woke up crying, came home, continue to cry. And all the pain that is going on right now, all the hate and the violence that's going on in the world right now, it just hurts so much. I feel helpless. I've never felt more scared, more sad, more angry, more helpless than ever since this whole pandemic and since all the violent crimes that have been happening in this world. I'm also lost for words, which as a writer, I usually can write no problems, but if there's anything that I can do, if there's a movement that I can join, if there's a group that I can be a part of to help bring a voice to the Asian community and to fight back, I am there. For centuries, culturally, we are taught to keep our heads down and not speak up and be diplomatic and even subservient to others, to be humble. But being quiet doesn't mean that we're meek and that we don't fight back or that we don't know how to fight back. And I really debated on whether to post this video because I'm showing you my feelings and my vulnerability. But you know what? The world needs to understand that this is affecting everyone right now. It's bad enough that I'm a woman, but to layer that with being an Asian woman nowadays, it's pretty scary. I leave my house, I leave my car, I go to the grocery store, I immediately come home, and my body just tenses up, and I am hyper vigilant and alert because I don't want someone to be saying anything nasty to me or punching me or attacking me, throwing me to the ground, what have you. I mean, I pray so hard that we can spread love and not hate, and that we can find a way to come together, to join together, hand in hand, to undo all this all this pain and all this hate that's happening in the world. Hate crime has gone up, I don't know, I read this somewhere, like 150% since the pandemic. And this is not the America that I know. This is not the America that my family fought to come to. And you know what? I'm a 1.5 generation refugee. I came here when I was 5 years old. And yeah, I consider myself American because I am American. I became a U.S. citizen, and I love this country. And so it just tears me to pieces, breaks my heart to see and to hear all the news that's going on right now. Anyways, all I can say is please be kind to one another. Stay humble. Stay in love with this country and the people around you. Stay tolerant. God bless.
Honestly, I have no idea why I recorded myself talking, right? But there was like a higher calling, maybe. And after I finished recording my little message, I sat on that for a while and debated whether I wanted to release that video or not, because anyone who is friends with me or follows me on any of the social media platforms knows that most of the time, I put my best face forward, and I'm always positive. But when you see other Asian Americans, AAPI community hurting, it feels really personal and it feels really close to home. And I realized I just have to fuck it. I'm going to post this and we'll see what happens. And hopefully it'll resonate with somebody. And if anything, I got to speak my truth at the moment that I was feeling it. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do. When you talked about repressing your pain and just not sharing it, why do you think you do that? And do you think that's just you?
No, I mean, I think, and you know this, Jolene, I think you know the answer. I mean, culturally, right? Not only as a woman, but as an Asian woman, we are taught to be seen but not heard, to be diplomatic and demurring and faithful and everything that man tells us we should be. And generation after generation after generation, when that's embedded in you and it becomes a part of your DNA, and as my personal story is, my mom fought so hard to come here to the United States after the Vietnam War. And we were refugees back in 1980. We were the boat people that came here. And I would be damned if she didn't fight so hard to get me here for me to just be quiet and not say anything. She gave me freedom. She gave me a voice. She gave me a life. She brought me here so that I could have my heart surgery and live. And what kind of justice would I be doing for not only my mom, but just for my fellow brothers and sisters? Um, this is a gift to live. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you, in the past, do your Asian friends, do you talk to your Asian friends about the things that are happening to our Asian people, or?
So I got to be honest with you, I don't have a lot of Asian friends. Um,
And you're in Oklahoma now.
I am in Oklahoma now. I've been here for over 2 years, and it's coming from a blue state to a red state, that was quite a different landscape to contend with. And coming from a melting pot to another state where, there's not a lot of diversity. There's some, which I'm thankful for that. But, oh my goodness, sorry. All my Asian friends are mostly in Seattle, and they're very open-minded and very liberal. But when we get together, it's girls and guys talking about food and other things other than politics. A lot of my friends aren't activists. They're not very vocal. And to be honest, I'm not an activist either. I don't consider myself politically active or anything like that. But I feel like things are changing for me. I'm growing as a person, and becoming an author has helped me to connect with other people that I normally wouldn't connect with. And I find such inspiration in the people that I meet. Everybody from war veterans to other refugees to people in the media, they inspire me, and they're helping to give me a voice. And I want to be able to use that to also help others to have a voice as well.
Yes, I can relate to you. And I am also not an activist. I mean, I have some selective things that I will fight for, and this is being one of them. And I'm so proud of you. When I saw that post, to the audience, I barely know Amy, but I like her, and she's one of our. We have common friend Ginny, and I just saw her like share. I'm like, oh my gosh, that takes so much courage, because I have to dig through who do Asian Americans. Okay, Asian Americans who will talk. And I do know activists. And so that's good. But otherwise, it's hard. So you were speaking up is so big. What was the reaction that you got from your waterworks um, post?
I got a interesting you asked that, because after that post, the next day, I posted another video, right? And I said, hey, about last night, this is where I'm coming from. And I also said, you know what, things are going to get a lot louder in terms of the Stop Asian Hate thing. And I said, if you don't want to hear about my posts, or if you don't want to hear about white supremacy, if you don't want to hear about any of that, unfriend me now.
I hear you. I saw that. I'm like, yes.
I lost 5 friends who unfriended me yesterday, and that's okay.
Wait, you lost some?
I actually had people who unfriended me. I don't know who they are, and that's okay. That's totally okay. I said, unfriend me if this is not something that you want to hear or that you believe in. And I was actually pretty shocked, but
yeah.
I did get a lot of people both. So I posted this also on Instagram.
Oh, good for you. Yes.
Right? I'm like, why not?
Yeah.
I had a lot of people that I didn't know, people that were, in Australia, who reached out to me. And it's not just the Asians who said, we've all we've got, let's fight this together, but it's our allies from all over the world saying, I hear you, I stand by you. And many of them are like, what can we do? I volunteer for the child care center. It's a care center, but it's a child advocacy center. And one of the coordinators there texted me. She said, there is a group of us here at the care center that want to help, but we don't know what to do. So tell us what to do. And I said, gladly. So I texted her some some ideas, some resources, things that I got from you, Jolene, from other people that are, in this movement together. And I got invited to the Asian Author Alliance group on Facebook. And I love this group already. It's only been 24 hours,
Yes.
but they've got panels that they are creating. I'm so proud of us. They've got
Yes.
panels and they're talking about everything, including the anti-Asian hate, right? So I know that this is a turning point for us. We've always been quote unquote the model minority because we don't speak out, we put our heads down, we work hard, we achieve our goals because of all the pressure that we are receiving from our family, generation after generation. So, but I feel like the younger generation, the 1.5, 2.0, 3.0s are getting it, you know. Yeah.
I I want to just reiterate what you just said. Some people reached out to me and I said, gladly, please, you care about me? I want that to be loud and clear. And Amy, I want you to repeat that again and again because our white friends and black friends, I only have white and black. I mean, that's pretty much, they're so scared. They don't know what to do so they do nothing. I mean, I'm begging my friends at this point. I didn't have the waterworks totally. I just have this constant welling up. And I just had a really good talk with my best friend. I'm like, we need to talk out loud, a conversation, so she can be the white person do-gooder who just needs uh, just we need to have that conversation because a lot of people are like her, and we need to have this discussion I'm talking about. But
Yeah.
that a
Yeah.
lot of us Asians, we want to be cared for and we need help, not sympathy, help. And that is sharing and liking, listening, understanding, and like that this is happening. I didn't know that. Is there more happening? Is there more that you know that I don't know?
Yeah.
And also not comparing us to the Black Lives Movement too.
I mean, I feel a little guilty that when the Black Lives movement was really prominent,
Yeah.
and that sentiment was really, really strong last year, that I didn't do as much as I could have. Again, and I think that's part of just my nature of being the quiet, reserved, focus on whatever kind of person. But I feel like 2021 has definitely, there's going to be change afoot. I've been very involved with the LGBTQ community. I always have, always supportive. And when one of them actually reached out to me because of this video and said, you know what, Amy, you have always been there for us. I want to be there for you. And this is someone that I don't talk to very
Yeah.
often,
Yeah.
So I know it's affecting certain people and it's changing certain people and they're hearing it. And but one time is not enough. If I cried every day and posted a video every day, I totally would because people need to hear us.
Well, yeah, they do, and that people are busy, and like I talked to my friend, and I'm like, I don't think you understand what a big freaking deal this is. I wouldn't just drop everything and talk like this. I mean, I'm very animated and very serious about this, and I mean, it's. Do I look fun right now? No, because it is so like I have a lot more information than other people do. So, so yeah, I'm excited. I was going to suggest that maybe you can talk to your LGBT friend and have them interview you and
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. I'm also gonna. I just uh, Kay the Everyday Gay. I just saw a great program put on by Lenora Billings Harris, who is a black um, speaker who talks about diversity. And had this great interview with the LGBT K Everyday Gay, and it was so good. I want to interview her, but like now I'm like, actually, can you interview me? Because
Mm-hmm.
she'll be able to reach an audience that I can't reach, and all ask the questions that everybody's wondering, but is too afraid to ask.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's super important that we leverage all the platforms that we have, all the friends that have a platform that we can use as a way to amplify our voice.
yeah,
And Because you know what? I feel like we're the flavor of the month, the flavor of the year, kind of thing. And if it's not the Asians right now, what's it going to be later on down the road?
Well,
So
yeah.
yeah. So I feel like if we get together now and put this in the forefront of people's minds, that it's not going to be so easy to turn away from when another ethnic group is targeted, right? Um, and the more conversations we have, the more connected we will be, and the um, more advocates we can be, I guess, for each other.
Yeah. Have you talked to any of your friends? And because, like, so you have mostly white friends, probably in Oklahoma. I have mostly white friends in general. Um,
Mhm.
but have you had conversations with them, or have they reached out to you? Have you had kind of a, what did those look like?
To be honest, I haven't talked to anybody here in Oklahoma
Mm,
except for one of my neighbors. Um, and God bless him because in our neighborhood, when the election was going on, every front yard had a sign that was pro Trump, except for one, my neighbor. I was too much of a chicken shit to put a sign up because I'm not very politically active. And just being an Asian woman, I just don't know what to expect here. So I didn't put my political sign up. But my neighbor had to deal with so much being surrounded by Trump supporters that he had his sign stolen, his sign trampled, his sign, just um, taken down. And um, but bless him too, he stood firm and was resilient in that and kept putting up the signs and kept putting up the flag or whatever. Um, so other than that neighbor, I really haven't had a conversation with anybody. I did, and I don't even talk to my husband because we go to work, we come home, we watch our Netflix show and just relax. But I did talk to my son, who is 11, and um, I always make a point to talk to him about what's going on in my life. We have this thing where I pick him up from school and he gives me the one good thing and the one bad thing that happened at school that day. And he always, without fail, asks me, "How was your day at work, Mama?" You know, and so we talk about it. But sometimes we talk about other things like what's going on in society with the shootings, and I've shown him videos. I don't believe in He's 11, but I don't believe in censoring certain things. So I showed him the video of the Asian grandma, the Chinese
yeah,
grandma that got punched in San Francisco.
yeah.
And he was so cute. He was like, let's go, grandma, let's go." So he was very excited and very proud that she stood up, because in his mind, that's his grandma too.
Yeah.
We talk about my mom who passed away in 2017. So if anything, I have my son to talk to, and it's a big responsibility to um, position it in a way that it's not biased, but also that is true to how I'm feeling. I
Hmm.
want him to know that because mommy is Asian and you're half Asian doesn't mean you always have to side with the Asian side of things. But here's what's going on. Here's what the reaction has been that we've seen. He knows that there's a lot more going on that media doesn't cover. They can't cover everything, right? But it took the Atlanta shootings to really bring everything to the forefront. There's always a tipping point and a breaking point, and I think that was it. And now I see so many uh, Asian Americans standing up for this, which is great. It's about time.
I am so glad to hear that because I mean, I just popped on being in the white suburbs with my friends, mostly white, a few black, and I don't get the local news, and so with the Atlanta shootings, I knew there was Asian violence, but it's just kind of the same as always, but a little bit worse, and so it's like, yeah, that just is, but with the Atlanta shootings and like, oh, he had a bad day, etc. I'm like, okay, and then I dipped into the Asian group, like the 12,000 people, and then learning and learning and learning, and then all of the movie stars, like the Asian, like the 10 Asian actors, they're all active now. And there's actually few, there's more. There's more
Yeah.
than 10 famous people that are Asian. I had no idea. And so it's really exciting. And then I'm like, saw Daniel Day Kim with his speech. He's so eloquent, and it's just like he encapsulates the whole thing. Like, yes. And then, so I had to drop everything. And where was I going with this? There was a point, Amy. Do you know where I was going? Oh, well,
Let me just say, like, I don't. Okay, I'm so focused on my books
yeah.
and studying it and working,
Yep. Yep.
volunteering, right? So I don't watch news. I never turn on the TV to watch news. I
Yeah.
barely read it on my phone. You know, usually first thing I do is check social media stuff. Um, so it's something that's got to be really
Yeah.
impactful and
Yeah.
important for me to have a wake up call and pay attention to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know where I was going now. Um, so under now, I mean, I kind of understand, like, I'm Asian, so I kind of understand the hate, but how prevalent it is, and then knowing, hearing to listen to Connie Chung, who's been a news anchor forever, and her pleading her colleagues to cover Asian hate this last year, and they wouldn't, and hearing from these other journalists, will you please do this, and then talking how newsrooms go, and so you have the reporters, but then the people in the newsroom are like, they don't cover it, and it's like Asians don't really matter, they're just a small group, they don't say anything, and I just, I was looking up the census. It's like, okay, 5.9% Asian Americans, and with that meant with so few Asian Americans, and then being our culture that we're trying to, I was listening to Jeremy Lin, the basketball player, the tallest grass or whatever gets cut, the tallest weed gets cut, and always trying to blend in. It's the collective. Don't stand out. Be like
Mhm.
everybody else. And so if you take away the people who don't speak English very well, and then all the culture that's really heavy, and then you have people who are scared and quiet, and then you have just very few to talk. And I'm like, I have to say something. And my concern was, well, shoot, I'm definitely representing like a million countries and generations. And what if I don't represent all of them? I'm like, am I going to offend any Asians? Oh, shoot. Oh, man, maybe I shouldn't say anything. Oh, but maybe I could kind of say something. And I was just like, you know what? If they want to speak up, which I want them to do, they need to speak up.
Yeah.
And
That's the fear for us, is not having the acceptance, getting the backlash, getting the, um, you say you speak your truth or you say what's on your mind, and then you offend so many people, and we tend to cower away from or shy away from that. But people have been doing that for hundreds of years. Whether it be us Asian women, or if it's the Native Americans, or it's our Caucasian friends, our white friends. It's like everybody offends everybody. But I feel like the most important thing is to speak up. That's the worst thing we can do, is to not say anything.
yeah,
I
yeah,
I feel like, okay, the whole, like, he's having a bad day,
yeah,
right? He's having a bad day, and so therefore he went in and shot a bunch of people at a spa. Um, that fucking pisses me off, because we all have our bad days, and have be able to go into some place like that and just shoot people to death. The deeper part of that is, okay, clearly mental health is an issue, and I feel like that's something that we skate across very lightly. We never really dig deep and talk about mental health and the roots of it. Um, Gosh, Julian, I just want this year to have mental health in the very forefront of everybody's mind, so that we can recognize it and hopefully stop it before these mass shootings happen. Um,
Well, when you come up with what you're going to do with that, we can brainstorm about it. Yep. And I
yeah,
was Yeah, I was also thinking that what we could do, like I was listening to a number of these different videos, and I think I sent them to you. One was with Karate Kid Tomita, I think, the Karate Kid girlfriend. And
Mhm.
then her dad was like a police chief in New York or something like that. And then she was just like, and I was like, ooh! And then Mei Lee, I was like, yes! And then there's
Yeah.
the I don't know, some people I don't know, but she was also in some actress, some other thing. And so they were all talking about different perspectives.
Mhm.
And I thought that Ginny, who connected us, maybe Ginny and Jenny and Estrella and Jackie, like I thought we could have a little convo and
Yeah.
just kind of what we're seeing in our worlds, because I'm in Seattle, you're Oklahoma. I don't know where Ginny's at the moment, so like that might be something. So then our friends can see Asians talking about kind of what's on our mind, because that's, you know, they
I
wouldn't
think the
know.
more we do that, the more empowered others will feel. And it's not just us. I would love to have our allies join us too and get their perspective and maybe some advice on how they're helping to stand up for us. But yeah, I'm totally down, Jolene. And I one of the things that we're doing with mental health piece is there's an organization called TAM, which stands for Talk and Mend. I actually was one of the judges for a writing essay contest that they recently did that opened up to mental health awareness for the younger generation of the Vietnamese refugees, the Vietnamese diaspora. And that was an eye-opening experience. And they've asked me to do two other things with them. One is to host a webinar to talk to a psychiatrist or a psychologist about mental health.
Mm.
And then they're also they're putting together a committee, and it's going to be for us to talk about the Asian hate crimes through a storytelling process. So that's in the very beginning stages. We're trying to think about the rubrics and how this committee is going to work and how the organization or how the storytelling process is going to work, but it's in the works.
Great.
um, yeah. And I think, I mean, we have so many resources we can tap into. I just hope that uh, they're willing, that they're going to be brave enough to open up with us and have that dialogue with us.
Yeah, that reminds me. There's Seattle Film. Somebody sent me a link to Seattle Film Women something or other. Um, I reached out to my YouTubers group. Uh, so awkward. But so another gals is putting together, like we're putting together a resource group. And then because I'm like, okay, how can I reach out to all the people that I know and or I barely know you. Like, I mean, like, in
I
person,
think we've known each other for 10 years, like peripherally.
online, yeah. Um, so the other group is, oh, I just met Asian American podcasters.
Mm.
There's more
Yeah,
than
there's
there's
actually a
more
lot of
than
them out there. Can you believe it?
oh my gosh. So there's Asian American podcasters group, and they made a thing that I need to put in the resource group. So if people want to listen to Asian American podcasters, here you just go here, and there's a list of them. And I think I'm going to host a Zoom with them. I will say this: when we had a meetup, I think a few weeks ago, I was like, I asked a question. I'm like, and I'm not running. I'm just a participant. I'm like, do I need to call on people? I'm like, I'm with people who have shows, so they're public and they're professionals,
Mhm.
but you still had that kind of who's should I go? I don't know. If, I don't want to go for. I mean, like,
We're so polite.
I was like, ah! um, and so I joined another group also in addition, and I'm going to do two interviews. One tomorrow morning, and it's in the UK. We're going to talk about Stop Asian Hate, and another one about confidence. I'm going to talk about Stop Asian Hate and the confidence that I've needed to have for this, to speak about this. And then I'm interviewing the Seattle deputy mayor tomorrow of Seattle, and I'm like, let's get that social media going. I was like, oh, you better put something up there before we have our talk. You know? And then, so I'm trying to think out. I guess when you think of who can you reach out to, think of all the groups that you belong to
Hmm.
and how you can activate all of them. And I'll share also my resource pages with you. So then the child care people who ask to help.
Yeah.
And I'm also, think about all the posts that you share, putting an action item on it. Because, people are like, oh, yeah, that's too bad. That was mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You're right. And then there's no action, no call to action.
like,
No.
that's not helping me. I'm glad you realized that it was mean. But can you do a little more? Here, all you share, listen, share. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
good.
I get. I feel
Yeah,
like sometimes people are so overwhelmed they don't know what to do, and if we can give them clear suggestions and resources to click onto, um,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna, I thought I was clear like 1, 2, 3, 4, but I think it's too much. And like, I don't know, I'll do nothing. So I'm going to
In the
start.
time of TikTok, when you have 15 seconds to grab someone's attention, That's all you get.
Well, are you
So
gonna
yeah.
start? Are you gonna start TikToking?
Oh God. I started a TikTok account. There's probably like 5 followers. Um, I'm not very technologically savvy, even though, which is sad because I used to work for Microsoft. Um, but I've been out of that world for so long. Yes, I do have a TikTok account, and I posted a few things, but
Well,
I
I
definitely.
think I think that your fountain is a good one that may catch people's attention. And I didn't realize how much politics. I know the a consultant who he trains mayors and city managers, and he's doing TikTok. I'm like, you are 70 years old and you're doing TikTok about
I
politics.
love,
I'm
I
like,
love it.
yes, yeah. And then Amy, with you're working on your fourth book.
I am. Yeah, I just started. It probably won't be done until another year and a half, but it's a women's fiction novel, and it's going to be a tough subject. It's about childhood sexual abuse and going through that fire and coming out on the other side whole, as whole as you can be. Hmm.
And then the other ones, what are they about?
Um, it's a trilogy. And so I started out with Snow in Vietnam. When my mom passed in 2017, the only way I could really honor her memory and the things that she did for me was to quit my job, corporate career, and figure out how I was going to be an author. I did all these things. But anyway, Snow in Vietnam was the result of it. And it was supposed to be a one and done situation, but folks who read it really wanted a sequel. They wanted to know what happened next to the family. And so I wrote Snow in Seattle, which is about how we, as new refugees, we settled in America and navigating through that matrix of a new culture, right? And the challenges that we face in parallel with also the Vietnam War veterans who returned back to their country from war and all the discrimination they received, and the pain that they went through. And then again, okay, two and done. But then fans wanted a third book, and I wrote the trilogy, The Snow's Kitchen, the last one, in November. It took me 1 month, and in December I published it, and that was it. It was a novella about my life as a teenager dealing with two different cultures, right? The Vietnamese culture and the American culture, and being stuck in the middle, and not being able to please either side. And then the novella or the cookbook pieces, because my love of cooking, and I share some family recipes. So half of the book is pictures, and there are pictures and recipes. But honestly, this year, 2021, I wasn't going to do any writing. I was going to either focus on a screenplay or an audiobook, or just all the things that I've been very passionate about, like the Child Advocacy Center. But I guess I'm a natural born writer in the sense that I was itching to write again. And after my visit last week to Seattle, I realized I needed to write book 4. So that's what I'm doing. And, I'm reading Alcoholics Anonymous and The Courage to Heal, two very easy, light reading books, to learn as much as I can before I write book 4. The Copper Phoenix is the title.
Well, that is great to hear because I'm putting together a book list of Asian American experiences because the thing is like, well, if we ask people, oh, go study, go learn, like go find out about us. Okay, I'll watch a bunch of movies, all those Asian American movies out there.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing that there's so many creatives now that are sharing our stories from the first person point of view, the insider point of view.
Mm.
I've met so many writers, Jolene, since I've become an author, right? That are writing about their diaspora and their history from their own point of view, which
Well,
is
that
amazing.
is great. If you can make a book list of those, and I'll put them out to all the. I am trying to get resources out there everywhere as possible, and so Asian American writers, and particularly if they're writing about Asian American experiences, that's true to them. That is the
Mhm.
best, and I would suggest, Amy, that you get that on audio. Audio, get that on audio because that's the way I consume my books. And
Yeah, a lot of people are, and I'm an indie author. I actually chose to indie publish instead of traditionally publish. And
yeah,
so, finding the right voice for my audiobooks, it took me a while to find her, but she's a podcaster for the Vietnamese boat people. And, but her schedule is just busy, if not more busy than mine. And so that hasn't happened yet. And I'm almost to the point where, okay, well, people are just going to have to hear my voice.
yeah.
And I
I
need
mean,
it.
I think like I listen to a ton of biographies and
Yeah.
hearing the author's voice better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Go,
All
go.
right.
Now
I
you
just
have this
decided to do
fire.
it.
Because the thing is, so people, I don't know when they're going to catch on that the Asian hate is actually a thing. It could be like 2 years from now. They're like, oh, you mean, oh, okay. And so you'll have that time. Like, so on these resource pages, I want to be able to say, also audiobook.
Mm-hmm.
So get it
Mm-hmm.
done.
Yes. Okay, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay. And I please, I will volunteer to be the safe, like, I'm going to do these ask me anything. Like, I'll be a resident Asian. Like, ask me anything.
Hmm.
Because we need that.
Yeah.
People
Yeah.
want to do something, but and so like particularly with your groups, I think that's great if you can volunteer as that. And if I can support you in any way, please, great job.
Thank you, Jillian. And thank you. Great job to you. I mean, you're like I said, we've known each other peripherally for 10 years, I think.
Yeah, I
This is
think so.
we've ever spoken to each other. And it took like this to connect us, which is sad but good. And I follow your posts. I see what you do. I see how vocal you are. I see how athletic you are, which I'm impressed. But I was also there when you were going through some hard times, like when you were the sense violated, right, at the store, with someone looking up your skirt. I mean,
Yeah,
so I feel like I know you from the outside in a little
yeah,
bit,
yeah.
but God bless you for continuing to do what you do and being out there because you're one of the reasons why I was inspired to have this Facebook Live conversation and to speak up because you and May Lee, who unapologetically, she's like in your face,
I know.
which I need that for someone
Yeah,
who's more quiet and reserved. I sometimes need that rally, to speak up. So thank
yeah, yeah. Well, I think you're gonna be that rally, and then have your other friends like, oh, okay, fired up, and it is. I mean, it's really frustrating and depressing, and I could just ignore it all, but no, I mean, we need to save, like help people,
yeah,
and help ourselves. I mean, my gosh, it's a little bit scary, not gonna lie. Yeah.
it's very scary. It's very
Yeah,
scary.
so I'm gonna coordinate with your help, with Ginny and Jenny and that whole breakfast brunch group, and we'll talk next week if can be.
Okay, that
Okay.
sounds fabulous.
All right. Thanks. See you later.
Have a great
Bye.
night.
Bye.
Bye.
When was the last time you felt like this? Has it been a minute? It is time to mix it up. Climb out on those limbs and jump into life. Life is full of excitement. We just need to get curious, get